Good morning, everybody. So we are here with Regina, and Regina is a birth photographer. She also is a doula, but your passion is really birth photography, even.
Yeah, my passion is supporting women and empowering women and families. And so I'm always a doula, but the birth photography is probably an even bigger thing for me.
Yeah, which is awesome because we don't have any in our area to really contact, shall we say. But I want you to talk about birth photography and like what it all really entails.
Okay.
In a sense, because I think some people are like birth photography. Some people
Right.
might be a little.
Right.
I want
A lot of
somebody
people,
videotaping that, or
Yeah, a lot of people hear birth photography and they're like, oh, like they're thinking gore and blood and like private parts and like ripping and like, why would you want pictures of that? But birth photography is really more about preserving the images, the feeling of the birthday when you meet your baby, the connections between you and your significant other, you and your baby. And so it's more about connection, it's more about relationship. And through all of that, I feel like birth photography has the potential to strengthen families. You know, when you're able to look back at those memories and be like, oh yeah, I do love that person.
Right.
Because sometimes we don't always feel like that.
Right.
And so, it has the power to strengthen families, to strengthen women, to be able to look back and remember like, oh yeah, I did that. And to be able to see it from an outside perspective instead of just remembering it all, just in your head where, it was happening to you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think the thing too, to let people know is that, yes, you have this other person in the room, but you're not like in the midst, like you're like in the background in a sense taking these pictures. Yeah. You're not like trying to be, you're like a fly on the wall.
Right.
Capturing those moments versus like somebody who's a distraction.
Right. And there's like, when it comes to birth photography, this tends to be a much more photojournalism documentary type of style. More fly on the wall. I tend to be very unobtrusive, out of the way, and part of that is like where my doula training comes.
I was just gonna say that's the thing where it's so
it's
nice
like I'm familiar with the delivery room, with the rules in different hospitals, even different care providers have different preferences as far as what they allow or don't allow to be documented. And then so it's not like posed. It's just your story as it's happening.
In the moment.
As you're meeting your baby. As your significant other is supporting you. Like, all this stuff is happening, and it's a big deal.
Yeah. So what are questions that like if people are thinking about having a birth photographer, what are some suggestions or some questions they should ask to potential, like people if they're interviewing them, things that they should look for or questions they should ask, things like that?
So one of the things that makes birth photography different than lots of other type of photography is the fact that babies don't have a calendar and they can come anytime. And so part of birth photography is the on-call aspect. So if you're talking with somebody about photographing your birth, ask them what the on-call period looks like for them. For me, at Sweet Clover Photography, I typically go on call at 38 weeks, and I stay on call until the baby is born, if that's 39 weeks or if that's 42 weeks. And then if on call for me means that I have my bags packed, I have my batteries charged, I have my camera, my memory cards emptied and ready to go. I have my kids' bags packed so I can just scoop them up and take them to the babysitter. Often this means that we drive separately to church as a family so that I can take off and leave if I have to. Like, that's what on call entails, and just being able to go at the drop of a hat. And so if you're interviewing with somebody that you think you may want to have document your birth, ask them what on-call looks like for them. And if they take other photo sessions, like family sessions or whatever, like how they would handle that. Like if you should call and they're in the middle of another session. Then the other thing is something that's also really important for a professional birth photographer to have is a backup photographer. And maybe not somebody who only does birth photography, but somebody else who is a professional, who understands the delivery room, who can step in the event that, say, my kid breaks their leg and I have to go be with them. Or just whatever craziness might happen. But you want to make sure that your birth photographer has a qualified backup. The other things are
well, different packages, because I'm sure everybody kind of
Right.
has their things that they are standard
Right.
for them.
Right.
So always like what kind of package
Right.
you want and what
right
feels right, for you.
kind of coverage.
Because
they
you
provide.
do something like in the house after.
Yeah, I also
birth
do
or-
newborn lifestyle. So that means like a fresh 48, some people call it, which is more of a family lifestyle, documentary style session. Like within the first 2 days that baby's born, like in the hospital, I come and do that session as well. That's kind of a little separate from the birth photography.
Okay.
Um,
So always good to know.
Yeah.
What's included, what's
Yeah,
not. Like.
yeah, and I have that so people can add that on to their birth photography package. I also have it. I in my business have a package where some people aren't into like the whole birth photography thing. They don't really want the labor photographed, but they want those very first moments photographed.
Gotcha.
And that wouldn't be covered by a fresh 48 because that's within the first 2 days, and we just fit it in when we can. But the first moments is also an on-call package, but that's where I try and show up just as the baby's being born and take the pictures as mom
Okay.
and dad are meeting their.
So always good questions to ask if
Yeah.
they have something like that.
Yeah.
All the different
Yes.
things and what it all entails.
Right.
You don't want to be like, oh yeah, they're gonna be there for the labor when that's really not what you
Right.
signed
Right.
up for,
Right.
what package or whatnot.
Right. And of course, as anytime you're inviting somebody into your birth space, be it a doula, be it a family member, be it a birth photographer, you need to feel comfortable and safe with this
Absolutely.
person.
Absolutely.
Or else it's just not good. And that's the doula in me talking, but I just
But I
feel
think
like
it's
really
too,
important.
and not only for mom, but for the significant other as well, so that family connects. Because
Yeah.
the mom might connect with somebody, but the dad's like, "Ugh, not feeling
Right.
it," or
Right.
that they might just
Right. If he's feeling off, then she's gonna feel it. And
Yes.
mom just doesn't need to be feeling anything extra beyond focusing on having her baby.
Yep,
Like-
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, you mentioned your photography business, but can you tell everybody what the name of it is?
Sweet Clover Photography.
So you can like them on Facebook. You can see. I think you have some photos.
Yeah,
too.
I have plenty of photos up on Facebook. My website is sweetcloverphotography.com. Don't go to it right now because it's down and I need to get it back up. But
Go to Facebook because you
Yeah.
can always see the pictures there. And I know
Yeah.
Regina, you have done pregnancy photos, photography, and things like that. So wide range of different things. I think that's important too. Is like go to these people's Facebook pages,
Right.
websites, look at the pictures that they've done, so you know the quality and you know
Right.
if it's a good investment, because that's what it is. It is
Yeah.
an investment.
absolutely.
But it's not an investment that you're ever going to regret as long as you pick the right person.
Right.
And so that's always important.
Right. And that's another thing, like where having a photographer who specializes or knows what they're doing in the birth room, because the
Yeah.
lighting situations can be so crazy.
Yeah, you ain't changing the lighting
Yeah,
situation.
no, there's no
You're
changing
just working
it.
with it.
And it can change very quickly. You can go from like laboring, taking pictures in a very, very dark room to all of a sudden the spotlight comes on and this baby's being born right now, and you got to change things so that you actually get good pictures.
Right, exactly, exactly. So if people have questions, you guys can always, message us, message Regina, and we'll be sure to get in contact with you or point you in the right direction. So thank you, Regina, for
Thank
coming
you.
in today.
You're
And
welcome.
yeah, if people have any questions, just reach out and let us know. And Sweet Clover Photography. So until then, we hope you guys have an amazing day.
Thank you.